Good morning, beloveds. I'm having a little bit of one of those mornings. On Sundays, my alarm goes off at 6 so that I can get up and go work out with a personal trainer. Well, I was to the point of putting my socks on, so I hadn't gotten my shoes on. I was dressed, but I hadn't gotten my socks on. And I glanced at my phone, and my phone blinked up, and he caught one of the colds going around, which I feel bad. Because, there's a couple of pretty nasty colds going around. And he said, I hope I caught you in time. And I was like, yep, feel better. And since I didn't have my socks on, I was like, to heck with this. I curled up, just stripped everything back off and went back to bed. And then, we set the alarm for 8 o'clock and I didn't move. It was so warm and comfy in those blankets. I was like, I have stuff I have to do. I got to get up. And so I'm up, I'm showered. Am I ready to face the day? No. The good news is it didn't drop into freezing again. Because it did yesterday, but just barely. And it did. And when I got up, when I checked the temperature, it was 37. That feels like was freezing. It was 31, and it's just going to rain all week next week. But at least, while we may get into the low 40s today, for the rest of the week, it's going to be in the 60s. It's going to be in the 40s for the lows and 60s for the low 60s for the highs. But it's going to rain all week. So, but I was just like, that bed was so warm. It was so comfortable. Like, I didn't want to get out, but I'm here. I'm here. And probably my higher self is what got me out of bed so that I can get on with my day. That's the title of today's topic. Okay. It is, that's the cover. January 21st. Our title is One's Higher Self. Our author is Elizabeth Sand Turner. And this is what Unity teaches from 1954. All right. One's higher self, which is the true self, is divine, spiritual. It is this self that is the divine mind's perfect idea, the same self that in Genesis is spoken of as the image and likeness of God. In the Christian Testament, this self is represented by the Christ, the only begotten Son of God. Thus, we are all children of God, and the qualities of God are inherent in us. Humankind, of course, is not all that God is, for God is the life of all living things, as well as the law governing the mighty cosmos. This truth that we are God's highest creation and that we partake in God's nature is one that is most important to recognize. When we recognize and acknowledge this truth, we can exercise the divine powers that assure us of peace of mind, health of body, love that inspires service and prosperity. This higher self, this indwelling presence, is the mystery revealed by Paul as the Christ in you, the hope of glory, Colossians 1:27. The precious gift of Christ is born of and given of God's love. For God so loved the world that he gave his only Son, that whoever believes in him should not perish, but have eternal life. John 3:16. It is our high privilege to know Christ, our great mission to let Christ have expression through us, so that we too may bear witness to the truth. John 18:37. All right. So really quickly, I'm going to remind you what Reverend Norm says. Reverend Norm says when you hear Bible quotes taken out of the Bible, go back, look them up in context, and read a few lines before and a few lines after to see what the author of the Bible quote means. Now, I trust that Elizabeth would not take it out of context and use it, but traditionally around the world, Bible quotes have been taken out of context and used to shame people and to enslave people and to coerce people to do things, and just to divide people. There's one in, I want to say it's Deuteronomy, that people like to tattoo on themselves, and because it's against something that they're against. And if they had just read a couple lines down, well, there's a prohibition against marks on the body, i.e. tattoos. And I'm like, so yeah, you got to be careful with Bible quotes. You definitely want to make sure that when you take them out of context, you are not using them out of context. So that's that's my caution when you hear people throwing Bible quotes around, especially when they're trying to convince you of something. So that you don't want to be convinced of. It's like, go read it in context. It probably doesn't mean what they think it means, which then makes me want to quote The Princess Bride. I don't think that word means what you think it means. Inconceivable. Well, it's clearly conceivable. Yes, I'm a nerd and a geek and all of those fun words. So, but what Elizabeth is talking about, and now I could have gotten crosswise with her of the only begotten Son of God, because I don't believe that. I believe that we are all children of God. I believe that Jesus was just the most in touch with his Christ consciousness, which is what we're all striving to do. Now, my mother is an electrical engineer, so I tend to talk about the Christ consciousness as software. I'm firmly Gen X. I saw it again the other day. The Gen X, we take to new technology like millennials, but we're angry about it like boomers, okay? So, because I grew up with this technology grew up at the same time I did. I know, well, I don't know how to program today's computers, but like I knew how to program. Like I knew how to tell a computer what to do. So I tend to think of the Christ consciousness like software. And it's factory software. We come into this world, into these bodies. These bodies are not who we are. They're simply vehicles that we use to get around and do stuff. But just like your car, you have a responsibility to maintain them. And so that's, and they come with a whole lot of factory settings. These bodies do. There's a whole lot of things that the bodies do that we don't have to worry about. Thank God. Because if you had to worry about your heart beating, well, we'd not get anything else done. So the Christ consciousness is factory software. We come pre-installed with it because the mind that we use is the divine mind. That is our mind too. What we have done is we've taken a little tiny sliver of the divine mind and individualized it into ourselves. Because she said, we are what God is, but we are not all of what God is, okay? We have access to as much of God as we can handle, okay? That's the important part. As much of God as we can handle. These bodies were not meant to throw lightning bolts. And yet, think about static electricity. If that's not a tiny little lightning bolt, I don't know what is. And I know because I shock myself on a regular basis during the winter. It's really bad. Sometimes it hurts. And sometimes I do hear the pop. And sometimes I've seen the sparks. So, think about that for a minute. We may not be equipped to throw lightning bolts, but static electricity is a thing. So, tiny little lightning bolts. Okay, which just got me off my point. The Christ consciousness is part of the divine mind. And it is so essential to the divine mind that every living being can access the Christ consciousness. The question is, do we? Now, we can get caught up in terms, because that's that John 3:16. That's another one where I can get a little weird. That know him, because they think him refers to Jesus, and I don't believe that. I don't believe that it refers to Jesus. I believe it refers to the Christ consciousness. Okay? If everybody knows the Christ consciousness, the only thing is, and everybody can know the Christ consciousness, they just don't call it the Christ consciousness. They can use whatever term they want, and I'm not going to get crosswise with them. All right? Because we all know what the Christ consciousness looks like. Jesus was the best example. Jesus used it to heal. Jesus used it to love. Jesus used it to teach. That's what the Christ consciousness is. The most important of those three things is to love, because it is through the love that he taught, and it's through the love that he healed. So, and that would be one of those things where people use people use Bible contexts use Bible quotes out of context. They believe that you have to know Jesus. Well, you don't have to know Jesus. You don't ever have had to have heard of Jesus to activate the Christ consciousness, okay? You just won't call it the Christ consciousness because you never heard of Jesus, and that's okay, all right? Which is where I get in trouble with a lot of Christians. And that's okay, you know? Because heaven is a mindset. Yeah. I know a whole lot of Christians who are walking around in hell right now because they don't, yeah. Well, that's a talk for another day. So, Christ consciousness, software, right? The password to activate that is love. And the amazing thing is that Jesus came here to teach us how to access that consciousness. He's not the only one. He's just the best example that we have in the West. So, what we have to wrap our minds around is the divine mind. That we have access to the divine mind, and that we are capable of so much more than we have done up to now. All right. And I know I've gotten away from her point, so I'm going to reopen the book and make sure that I haven't wandered too far from the point. Oh, the higher self. Yeah, that's what we're doing. The Christ consciousness. That's what we're talking about. Okay. The precious gift of Christ is born of and given of God's love. It is our high privilege to know Christ, our great mission to let Christ have expression through us so that we too may bear witness to the truth. Okay, I just quoted John again. So, oh yeah, let's go back and talk about the image and likeness of God just for a minute. And then I'll wrap this up because I don't think there's much more I can say about it. It's about the higher self, the Christ consciousness. The body that we walk around in is not who we are. The consciousness is who we are. And that's that point of being made in the image and likeness of God. It's not the body. It is not the body. It is not male and female. It is not anything else. It's the mind. That is that consciousness. That is where we are made in the image and likeness of God. Because when we look around, it's all God stuff. I've taken to the phrase electrons dancing. Because when you look at absolutely everything, whether it be animate or inanimate, we're all made from the same molecules. We're all made from the same elements. We're made from the same elements, which are made from the same molecules, which are made from electrons, protons, neutrons, which are made from quarks, which are made from photons. Okay? It's all God's stuff. It is all God's stuff. It is all God's stuff. But what God is the living spark. It is the force that makes the electrons dance. God is the force that makes the electrons dance. The spark that makes the electrons dance. That's what God is. And God is also the consciousness, which is why we say divine mind, why we talk about the divine mind, we talk about the divine consciousness. God isn't a person, but God is present in every person. God is present in every living thing. And if you let yourself think that for a minute, it'll rock you back on your heels, okay? God present in every living thing. That means the cat that just wandered into the room, God is present in that cat. God is present in that tree, that enormous tree right outside of my door. God is present in the blades of grass. God is present in the birds that sing. And for a moment, you're just overwhelmed. And when you let yourself think that, you're going to make different choices in the world. Okay? I will be honest with you. It didn't make me a vegan. Not even, although I'm mostly vegetarian. What it did do is make me look at my food choices and how they are managed. Like, I don't eat chicken because of the way the chickens are raised. I do eat eggs, but I try and buy pasture-raised eggs, where chickens are let out to run around in the grass. Okay? I tend not to eat beef. And when I do eat red meat, I tend to choose buffalo because of the way buffalo are raised. Okay? So, bear that in mind. Bear that in mind. I try and make choices where I know that the food was raised ethically. Because I believe that that God is present in every living thing. But that means God's present in the carrots that I eat too. So, All right. And that's what giving my higher self expression means to me. It means that I look around and I see God looking back at me from everywhere. And I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid because I'm not afraid of God. Okay? Not afraid of God. I'm not afraid of a judgment from a being because there is no such being. God is life. God is creativity. God is the spark that makes us wonder when we look up at the stars, And because there's nothing outside of God, then God can't judge. I can create the illusion of separation, but God can't. And that is the most amazing thing about it. And that's why I don't fear God. Now, do I fear some of godlings? Some of the children of God running around on the earth? Oh, heck yeah! Because they've forgotten who they are. They have bought into that illusion of separation. And the only thing that I can do is that they will come to know who they are. That the scales will fall from their eyes and they will see the truth of their being, which is the divine oneness, the divine nature. Right? You agree with me, Rita? No, she just likes the scritch. Okay. So, Elizabeth did give you your mission right there in that last line. Since we're talking about the higher self, the mission today, should we choose to accept it, she calls it a privilege. To know Christ. Our great mission, the mission today, should we choose to accept it, is to let Christ have expression through us. That's it. That's it. What does it look like? Love. Start there. If you can start with love, you'll never go wrong with the Christ consciousness. Because that is what Jesus came here to teach. It's love. Yeah. I don't know what Foster's talking about. All right. So, you have your mission today. The other mission is the same mission I give you every day, which is the spiritual practice of self-care. To do something loving for yourself, do something kind for yourself, do something compassionate for yourself, whatever that looks like. Big, small, doesn't matter. Point is, to do something loving for yourself, kind, compassion, to practice on yourself. The ultimate goal by practicing every day is so that everything you do for yourself and others is loving, kind, and compassionate. And yes, I mean the hard stuff too. Because I can't think of any way to make the hard stuff, the tough stuff that we have to do, better than doing it lovingly, kindly, and compassionately. Now, you know my jump off points. My first one is always to take a deep breath before you speak. All right? Because it is easier to not say it than to have to make amends. And it's a reminder that generally our first reaction is what we've been taught. It is not who we are. It is our second thought, which is actually our response. That's who we are. All right? So if your first reaction is negative, don't be so concerned about that. Look at your second one. And there's your work to do. Okay? That's why I say take a deep breath before you speak. Give yourself a moment to respond instead of react. All right? Our reactions are taught. Our responses, those are measured. All right? So, and then the rest of them are easy. Take a walk, take a nap, take a break. Okay? 1, take a walk. Go get the blood moving. Get your body moving. Get the oxygen flowing. Walk away from situations. Walk towards new situations, you know? Take a nap. You know you're an adult when you enjoy naps. I got a good nap yesterday. In fact, the cat, every time I would pick the cat up and put her over here, and then I would come back and I'd pick her up and put her back, she went right back to sleep. Like there was none of this, I'm done with you, you keep moving too much. So I kept drifting off yesterday because she was sitting in my lap, which means I need more sleep than I'm getting. My body is working on it, don't worry. It has taken the reins. It's like, I'm not getting enough sleep, so this is what, if you get comfortable, we're out. And then take a break. I'm a big believer in taking a break because frequently, especially when we get stuck on stuff, it's like what we need to do is get up, walk away, go do something else. Then we can come back with a fresh perspective. And while we are letting our minds rest, oftentimes solutions will appear. So take a walk, take a nap, take a break. Okay. Oh, that purr. I wish you could hear that purr. She has such a magnificent purr. All right. I do like to remind you that one, it is a truth, and 2, it is a metaphor to eat dessert first. Yes, I believe chocolate is the first step to fixing anything. And even though I'm cutting a whole lot of stuff out of my diet, I'm not cutting chocolate out of my diet entirely. If I have a piece of chocolate, I'm going to have to give up sugar somewhere else. So it's not possible to go sugar-free, but I can get really darn close, right? Okay. But what I mean by that is don't save the good stuff. All right. Don't wait for a special occasion. Make the occasion special. Don't let those pretty clothes hang in your closet waiting for a special occasion. Make a special occasion. Don't let the pretty dishware molder in your cabinets, taking up space and not doing anything. Make the occasion special. Write in the pretty notebooks, burn the pretty candles, do all of that now. All right. And then I also want to remind you that joy is a quality of God, because joy is a quality of God. Joy is a quality of you. No matter what is going on in this world, no matter what is going on in your life, you still deserve joy. Please make room for joy. However you can make room for joy, please do. One of my joys is sitting right next to me, purring away. That great big orange cat that you saw. That's Rita. And she is definitely she's also a huge pain in my butt, but she's also one of my joys. So she is a 14-pound orange tabby, with an enormous purr and just a beautiful heart. Just a beautiful heart. She loves people. All right. People don't always love her, but yeah. You know they do. Everybody loves Rita. Because they're like, even people who are allergic. Because she wants to come, she wants to sit in your lap, she wants to be petted, she wants to be loved. And she wants to love on you while she's loving you. That's joy. That is joy. That's why she's one of my joys. All right. The rest of the suggestions are basic and easy. Do something to engage your mind and your body. Drink plenty of water. Hydration is super important. I'm a little behind on my hydration because my glass is way more full than usual. But I'm working on it. You know how important it is to me during, in the heat of the summer when you're sweating, you know you need it. During the heat of the winter, when your heat's running all the time, you don't think about it, you're still getting dehydrated. And that heat is just sucking the moisture out of you. So, drink plenty of water. Your brain works better, your skin looks better, and your body works better when it's well hydrated. All right. Oh, we're about to face a week of rain, so I'll be leaning into the artificial light. 5 to 10 minutes of sunlight. If you can't get that artificial light, bright light early in your day will help to reset your circadian rhythms. You will have more energy during the day. You'll sleep better at night. Try it. You can Google it. If you Google circadian, it starts with a C. And it literally just takes 5 to 10 minutes to help reset those hormones. And like, does it? Foster, what are you talking about? I have no idea what he's talking about. Okay. What are you doing, baby? Okay. Where was I? Light. Okay. And then, so now I'm onto my Ernest Holmes quote. Open the windows of your soul. Allow the breath of heaven to remind you you do live in heaven. Right here, right now. It's all around us all the time. All right. That's what Ernest Holmes said. He also said, because another writer quoted him earlier this month, heaven is in a locality. Heaven is not a place we have to get to. What it is a mindset. That is what that quote reminds me. That quote reminds me two things. One, everywhere I look, it's all God. Okay? It's all God. And two, heaven is a mindset, a state of consciousness. It is that Christ consciousness. Jesus said the kingdom of God is within you. All right? It's a mindset. It's a state of mind, a state of consciousness. Once we learn to create it for ourselves, nobody can take it away from us. And as she said, talking about our higher self, talking about that Christ consciousness. You know, it is a gift. It is a gift. And once we learn to activate it, then it becomes a superpower. You know? Then we can turn hell into heaven. And, you know, we can get on with a world that works for everybody. So, all right, beloveds. This cat's getting super distracting, so I probably just need to wrap this up. All right. So I'll leap on into, you want to create the heavenly mindset? Listen to Emma Curtis Hopkins. Look for the good and praise it. All right. I love to look for the little goods, because that's what adds up to the big goods. That's where, you know, I can quote Gandalf at you. It is the small kindnesses done by ordinary folks that have held back the dark. All right. Look for the good and praise it. Look for the little good. Look for the big good. Count them all. Count them all. But start with the little ones. Start with like a nicely folded fitted sheet. A cat standing in your lap. A cat purring, flowers blooming, the rain that is coming. It's good. It's good. Okay. Social media. Creative Life Spiritual Center, Creative Life Spark on the social medias that we are on. I am the Running Rev Ryan on the social medias that I am on, which is kind of really ironic, and I haven't let it get me down too much that I'm not currently running. I'm working on it, though. I'm working on it. I'll get back. But there are hours of content on the YouTube channel. We do try and post stuff up on the Instagram and Facebook pages that are helpful. We may eventually go back to the TikToks, but we'll see. What was I about to say? I don't know what I was about to say. Yeah. All right. I just lost my train of thought. Told you that cat was distracting. Okay. Oh, if you want to know what's going on with the center, email info@creativelife.org. That will get you on the constant contact. It's one email a week. And then you'll know what's going on with the center, especially when my mind ducks out on me like it just did. And there's a hot link to our Creative Life YouTube channel. It'll take you to the Soul Session playlist, which is probably one of the best playlists we've got out there. So definitely look out for that. And yeah, now I'm at the part where I get to encourage you to have a great day, a wondrous day, a fantastic day, a magical day, an enchanted day, a wonderful day, an awesome day, an amazing day, a bundle up day, a layer up day, a prepare for the rain day, a drink plenty of water day, a recognize your higher self day, a look into your Christ consciousness day, a join us at 11 day, a good day, and if that is too much pressure, simply have a day. You are enough just as you are. You are a beloved child of God. You are spirit in motion. You are God in action. You are a brilliant light. You are spirit, a divine spark. That's the word I was looking for. Or as Reverend Jesse likes to call us, you're a godling. All right? If you're going to explore the Christ consciousness, if you're going to explore your higher self, and it is a good idea to get to know the source of your own being, then get to know who God knows you to be. Because I can promise you one thing. The person God knows you to be is good. All right? So peel back the layers of everything that you have been told. Everything. By society, by culture, by religion, by gender normatives, by stereotypes, by archetypes, by ad executives, by marketing people, by people that know you, by people that don't. Peel it all away. Let it all go. And get to know who God knows you to be. All right, beloveds. My cats have all lost their minds. Reverend David will be on around 5 p.m. with you. I'll be back with you around 9 a.m. tomorrow. I'm going to remind you we will be on Facebook Live at 11 a.m. with the service, and I'll have it up on YouTube later. Take care of yourself. Know that you are loved, and I will see you next time.